I don't know. Are you putting this on the? Have you put on the stream? Because I started recorded, and I can also tell you now that I am going to. I just need to edit out when me and you last time talked about some issue with Twitch. I'm just editing that out, and then I'm gonna upload it to YouTube.
Oh, I see. Okay. Feel
That
free.
that's why I
Do
didn't
you-
get. That's why I didn't get like a link last in a while because I just been full on into
No,
working
it's
and
all
stuff.
right. I mean, it's all right. Take your time. Um, so can I go live or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm doing it. Hopefully, nothing breaks. And we're live, I think. Hopefully. And the stream is green, which is a good sign. I think the frame dropping issues should be fixed now because I switched ISPs and I'm using cable now instead of Wi-Fi, so it should be faster too.
Yeah, I just put it in the what is it called? That we were live on Twitch now in the chat.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
If you don't mind, I'm gonna be playing a game while we talk because it's it's not gonna show up on stream, so don't worry. But it shouldn't matter because it's a very those kind of games where you barely have to do anything.
yeah, sort of, I guess. But which one do you mean?
It's a custom game for Dota called Atomic War. But
Okay, so you're not like online when you play it with other players. You just play it alone.
no, it's actually online. This one, but like there's no. If I have to quit, there's no issue. So it's very commitment free. Let's say.
Like, what is it? I didn't notice, but Sasha Grey streams on Twitch. Is that true? Let me check. I need to actually see if that's actually her.
Sasha Grey is a porn star, right?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Let me see if it's actually her.
I was trying to come up with the Sashas I know by name, and I was thinking, wait, he's not talking about the Attack on Titan, right? Oh, he
Sasha,
must be talking
yeah,
about
Sasha
the.
Browse is fucking streaming. She's on
Yeah,
Twitch
I
now.
was thinking, there's more than one
Oh,
reason why that's weird.
okay. You know what? Now when I see what she's doing, she's literally just doing a travel vlog, and it's like, all right, that's it. So she's not even, being a thought or something. She's actually, you know.
Working.
Yeah, I mean, if she just travel, I feel like this is cooler. Yeah, it is the okay. Yeah, it is the real Sasha Grey. It's an act. It's the actual Sasha Grey.
Does she look hot or not?
I mean, she looks normal, like standard, like she always did. I mean, she's older now, but I mean, she's just 30 years old or something.
I see. Yeah, that's a good point. 30 years old is not that old yet.
No, I mean, maybe I will feel so in a couple of years or something. Shouldn't your birthday also have been, right?
Yes, it was in February. Uh, quite some time ago already.
Huh, damn. Alright. Well, happy birthday.
Thanks, Gagger. Means a lot to me. By which I mean, like, birthdays are very. I don't know, dude. I don't like birthdays. A very weird tradition.
What happens like in Brazil? Do they just give you cocaine or something? Does your dad just
Mm,
stab you with cocaine when you walk by?
Unfortunately, not. It's just I don't know, dude. Like gathering up the family, singing happy birthday, eating a cake. It's all the normal stuff I think happens everywhere in the world. But I don't know. It's like I think I don't like cake because most of the cakes I eat are not that good, and I used to like party foods, the fried stuff and stuff that people eat at birthday parties, but I no longer enjoy them as much as I did back then. So uh, I
No,
guess the reasons I used to like birthday parties are no longer uh, like I no longer enjoy birthday parties for the reasons I used to. So now there's nothing left for me to enjoy about them.
I mean, after you get to a certain age, you just want to kind of be like, yeah, you get like the wishes and everything, and then it's all over.
Yep,
But
basically.
what was I thinking about? Like, it was something insane. Like this girl I told you, like it was a while ago, and I think we talked about her since. But this girl, John Mi Park, like the North Korean defector, you remember?
Yeah. Yes, I remember.
So did you see her? Did you see her on Joe Rogan? I don't know if you watch his podcast.
I don't watch this podcast. The most I watch is some highlights that sometimes crop up on Reddit, but I didn't see her participation there.
No, but she was like in Joe Rogan, and then like on their subreddit, the tankies came out. You know what a tanky is, right? I will assume you know.
I think so. At least, I mean, I only see it on political compass memes to refer to uh, authoritarian leftists, right? Communists.
Yeah, so it's like essentially how it is explained is that it's people who think that the Soviet way of communism was fine. They also think that China is it's completely fine in China. China is like, the perfect society, and North Korea is like it's heaven on earth. Like everyone, if you say anything against these places or anything, you're a shill, like 100% a shill.
I
And
see.
so what happened was like in the comments to the Euro get of on her like episode, the tankies, man, they came out. They were like saying shit like, oh, a CIA plant and stuff like that. And this is the no, and here's the thing, right? That's so sad because I have noticed not in because I mean most people like, well, I don't know like who. There are some big names in the YouTube political commentary sphere that most people know about. But I mean, it just feels like, and since I told you, like I like watching the like debates and stuff. I always like that. But in this case, like it feels like nowadays, like the right wing commentators have just put up a wall, and they're not engaging anymore. And what happened then is that the tankies just took over the left, essentially, like the left wing commentators. So now they're just eating themselves from within, and the right wing commentators are just sitting and like looking at it from afar away or something. It's sad, but
I see. I couldn't comment on it because I don't really watch political debates on YouTube, but I mean, it does relate to the polarization that people talk about, right? That people can no longer talk about stuff. They just agree to disagree, and there's no discussion anymore about, you know, across the divide between left and right. There's no line of communication anymore. And I mean, I wonder about this. I don't know, communist supremacy that's happening on the left now, because it's actually a very um, unpopular perspective outside of the internet, right? Like
yeah.
there aren't really many people who are in favor of communism outside the internet, specifically outside Twitter, I should say. But
Yes.
I don't know, dude. Like maybe you just have a fucked up YouTube algorithm because I don't see um, a bunch of communist videos on my on my watch tab. So.
No, no, like let me explain it. Like I'm not saying that the discourse is more. How do I explain it? Like these people, as you said, they're a lot on Twitter, right? But in real life, they're not like anything to be worried about in real life,
Hmm.
unless like you. I guess you live somewhere where Antifa is close, but I don't, so I don't really care. I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking like where in Sweden they actually are. Like there's some stronghold. I think it's like in the southern suburbs of Stockholm. I think there's like some place they go to, but and in Gothenburg, which is on the west coast of Sweden. I know there's like a. I actually went to their club once, like an actual. Okay, I should tell this story. Me and my friends down there, or like I was visiting a friend down there, and then we were like walking around Gothenburg, and we're talking, okay, where should we go now? Where should we go next and stuff? And then this guy knew, oh yeah, I was invited to this like illegal club. It's called a black club, like black for illegal.
Mm.
And then we went there, right? And as I walk in, like they sell like beer under the counter and stuff, and they don't ID us at all. And I mean, to be fair, I was like 20 at the time, so whatever. But anyway, I digress. I was in this, and there was like these bands playing and stuff. And then I look to my left, and there's this huge banner, and it says it says "Proletariat, no die enemy," and it's like an Antifa guy holding a gun towards like the prime minister at the time, who was like quote unquote right wing.
Proletariat, no die enemy.
Yes,
What does that mean? No
worker.
die.
Proletariat is worker. Die
Yeah.
is like it's a fancy way of saying your. So know your
Oh.
proletariat. Know your like yeah.
Oh, okay. I got it. I thought it was die like death. So I was wondering how that
Yeah,
sentence makes sense.
this is also when the migration crisis was happening in Sweden. And so it was so weird because you had that big banner, right? And it was like violent and stuff, right? With the, what is it, like the gun towards the prime minister's face. And then under it, there was like a fundraiser for the people who lost their, like, for the migrant children. It was so weird to see like this message of violence up on the, on the wall. And then under it was, yeah, fundraise for the children. Like, all
Hmm.
right.
It's like we're distinct and cultured savages. We are not the kind of barbarians who uh, would do violence to children. We have standards.
I mean, the thing with I agree with you, like, but one thing that to note is that the thing with Antifa is that they could at least have the decency of being attractive. Because they're
Uh,
not. Have you? I've never seen like an Antifa member that was like, "Oh man, that's an attractive person." I
I,
never
I
see this.
actually, I mean, to your point, like I've seen. I don't remember what Antifa riot it was or where it was. I know it was in America, but I don't know what state, or it might have been Seattle or something like that. Um,
In Brazil, there are no rights; they would just get shot by the mafia.
hopefully they would get shot.
I mean, I support that. So it's no, I don't. I don't support video game. I remember we're on Twitch. We're on Twitch. I can't say that. It was a
Yeah,
joke. It's no video game. Anyway,
it
continue,
is
Leo.
obviously. Yes. Yeah, I saw. I think it was from 4chan. I saw it on Reddit. It was a 4chan screenshot, which had the pictures of people from Antifa who were arrested during the riot. They were all ugly, dude, and they were like, I think they were all white or 99% white people, and all ugly, all ugly, and they looked like I don't know, like they were taking meth or something because they all had this, messy hair, sunken eyes. Uh, they had a very, I don't know. They clearly did not care about their appearance, I should say, and
No grooming.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, to your point, I know what you mean when you say that the people from Antifa aren't attractive. And I guess the people in the party you went to were people like that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like this, I'm trying to. Fuck me, you're right, actually. I never considered it like this extension that I should have earlier. There were two hot people there. The singer in the band, and like, since I, really, I can recognize when a guy is attractive, of course. And I think
Yes.
like one of the guys, I mean, he was, I mean, for where he
Mhm.
was, like in the style he had, it was. I guess he was actually pretty attractive for his style. But if he had like normal style, he would probably be like, sort of attractive. But
I see.
then there was a girl there who had like these thigh-high leather boots on and like the fishnets and the skirt, and she was obviously the hottest girl there. But then
Mm.
everyone else was like super unattractive. So
You
you
think that maybe they self-select for the unattractive because the only people who can buy their bullshit are people who are desperate for, sex, and the
attention
only way
to
they can get. I mean, maybe, but because there is a science behind people seeking small groups that they can fit into, uh, so that they have, some chance at getting laid. And I guess that if maybe if I was ugly and desperate enough, I would become a communist just so I could try to get laid in a communist party. You
the
know,
shared way. No, no, I know what you mean. I'm not laughing at you, but I understand
no,
what
I
you're
mean,
saying.
I do say it in a sort of dismissive, and you know what I mean. It's kind
Like
of
I
a
agree
joke, right?
with you, by the way. Like
Yeah, it is kind of a joke, but it's also kind of strategically it makes sense for people who are desperate enough to do something like that, right?
no, and then you have a flip side to it. That's like this is like going the other direction, but people who don't recognize that they're really attractive, and it's I don't know why that annoys me more, because I had this the friend I told you about that looks really like you, right?
Uh-huh.
He the way I met him, right, was like out of a Shad meme, because I go in because what happens is that my other friend says because he lived like in the other area of the student housing, and he says
Hmm.
like, oh, just so you guys know, there's like a bunch of girls in my room, like just like not in my his room, sorry, the common area of the apartment, living room.
Hmm.
So we just go there immediately, and then there's this guy there who is just sitting and talking to all the girls, like, and he sits like a shad, like he sits with a drink and like his legs apart, like he sits like a goddamn shad, right? And all these
Yeah.
girls are talking to him and like being interested in what he has to say. I was like, nah. And then I see this giggling buffoon standing in the kitchen. So I obviously go up and talk to him instead. And then that other guy,
I love your process of selection.
then the guy who was sitting and talking to all these girls, just come up to me and start talking to me, and that's how I met that guy. And he never realized how attractive he was. He was like, I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna be like, get down on my knees and suck him off. Like he wasn't that hot, but he was like, how do I say, like at least in terms of attractiveness, at least a 7 or an 8. Like not an 8, but a 7 at least. And
Okay.
it was like he could talk to people, and he had natural charisma. So I mean, if you plug that into whatever all these crazy red pillars say these days about sexual market value and shit, I mean, he scores high on it, honestly.
Yes, I got it. And wait, where did we? How did we get here? Um, why did you bring this up?
No, I was gonna like say that there's a flip side to it.
Wait, what the fuck is this song
Yeah, it's
in the
my
background?
actually let me, because I can't upload this to YouTube if that goddamn song is playing background. So give it 2 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. No. So I actually need to cut them cut. So I'm actually gonna do this on my microphone so I can pick it up in Adobe. So no. Now it's easier because I can just see the waves. You know,
I
the
get it.
audio
I
waves.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
laughed
but
because I understand why you did it. Yes.
yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I was talking the flip side of people being really unattractive is like people not understanding how fucking hot, like attractive they are, and my
I
friend
mean,
is like that.
I also do get angry, but not at people who don't realize they're attractive, but people who say they don't realize they're attractive because they're fishing for compliments, right?
Oh yeah,
Um,
those are like I get more angry at them, but like okay, like the people who don't recognize how attractive they are, I'm more annoyed at them. Not like I don't.
I don't think I've met someone who had no idea that they were attractive. I don't think because yeah, no, I don't think I've met someone like that yet. I'm not saying they don't exist, by the way. I haven't met them.
No, I actually met several people like that. I dated
Yeah.
like one girl I dated. She was like that, and I mean she was really attractive, but she didn't realize she was attractive. She thought because I think like when she went to high school, I don't think she was bullied, but she was like part of the nerdy people.
Hmm.
And then, she was still in that mindset when she started university.
I see.
But I don't know. But I mean, she was of all the girls I ever dated, I think she was the most fun because she was borderline in like she was so cringy that she became it was like is this person real?
I see.
It's like I could tell you a story. My other friend in Australia thought this was super funny, but what happened is that me and her we had let me see now we had been yeah we had taken a walk and then she had been in the we had taken let me just yeah okay no I got it so we had been taking a walk in this wooded area right and we had been talking and stuff and we had like decided okay let's not continue this
Hmm.
it was like in two conversations essentially once outside her like dorm we sat down and talked and she's like no I'm not really and I was like okay that's fine no hard feelings and then somehow we had another talk when we were walking through the woods at night about the same thing we're like I don't hate her and she doesn't hate me it was mutual so to say but anyway
Hmm.
and the thing is I then I got home and I was a little bummed out, that it didn't work out. So I sit down and I tell this story to my friend, and we had already because this girl had a thing for wolves, right? She really liked wolves, like a
Where is this
lot.
going, dude?
Yeah, this is going somewhere. So she was really into wolves. So yes, it was an important thing that my other friend he knew about that, but he didn't know that what I was gonna tell him. So I was talking to him, and then I was like, "Oh, so we're in this forest," and like since I had been like dating and seeing this girl for a couple of weeks, this was like in my normal to me in a way, or whatever you want to say. Like the cringy things she didn't face me after a while because it was
I
normal
see.
to me, and then I said, "Oh yeah," and then. So I say this in a normal voice, right? Because I think this, for some reason, this is like normal to me. And then I say to him, convinced that this is normal, I say to him, "Oh, and then it was pretty nice outside the university, and it was this tree. There's a gum tree, and she climbed the tree, and then she howled at the moon. And anyway, then later, and by that point, he was just pissing himself with laughter, right? because
Yeah.
because I had picked up on like I said to him, what's so funny? Like I didn't understand what was so funny why he was laughing, right? And then he goes like, bro, she climbed a tree and howled at the moon.
Just so we're clear, Gagger, it was her who
Yes,
broke up with you.
no, it was mutual.
I see. But who initiated the breakup? Let's say.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
actually completely unrelated to climbing
to
the
the
moon.
howling and the climbing the tree. So that's just you can accept that, but there was something else that you couldn't accept.
Yeah, I wasn't really in love with her. Essentially, that was what it came down to.
You weren't, yeah.
No,
But how the fuck do you see someone climb a tree and howl at the moon and not think? I don't know. I don't know. You have, I don't know. What do they call it? Rose or
no,
pink
no, no, no,
colored
no.
glasses, something like
Neo,
that.
Neo. It wasn't the rose tinted glass. It was that she had massive fat breasts, tits, whatever you want to call them. I was. That was what I was, looking at.
I mean, if she had, they couldn't have been too massive since she could climb a tree with them, right?
No, but they were really nice.
I
That's
see.
why.
Yeah,
I shouldn't get too graphic, but I mean, I saw the opportunity you just gave me. Like, was it rose tinted glass? I was like, no, no, not really. It was like other things.
I see.
No,
You
but
could, forgive. I mean, it's weird, but no, it's very weird to be honest. How old were How old were you and her?
I was. Let's see now. This was. I need to think. I was either 22 or 23 at the time, and she would have been 19.
Hmm. Yeah, 19 is a bit too old to be climbing trees and howling at the moon. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think at least. Well, just was this like when what's it called? The vampire movie, Twilight. Was this when Twilight was
No,
big?
no. I'm not that old.
Okay,
This was way later. Like
okay.
the thing is, this happened after the werewolf and vampire craze.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out why she would be so into vampires, and as a teenage girl, I think growing up with Twilight might have been a reason, I suppose. But maybe that's not what
Yeah, I
made it
mean,
happen.
it could be like because she was like really into wolves was the thing she was into,
Mm-hmm.
and horses. And when I said this to my friend, like my other, not the friend who
What the fuck,
laughed,
dude?
but I know, but when I said this, he looks at me like, how, almost like, how the fuck do you find these people? Because to me, it's like, you know, it's normal. Like she just likes, she likes wolves, she likes horses, whatever. Like I like cats, but
Yeah.
but to me it's like that. But and then he kind of calmly. I realize how fucking insane this is because he explains to me why this is weird. Right, this was before the howling incident. He
Mm-hmm.
explains kind of nicely friendly like you would to a retarded person. He sort of explains to me that maybe if you think about it, not only if she is a wolf girl but also a horse girl, maybe you should back off because they're all crazy.
Mm, I see. To be honest, I've seen memes of it, like horse girls.
Are crazy, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, horse girls tired pack on Reddit, and I don't know.
No, no,
Um,
the angel girls are the worst.
what are angel girls?
They're like really, they're not Christian at all, right? But they're really into angels.
Oh, I see. It's like their horoscope, or
N-
their.
No, they're just obsessed with angels. Like,
Yeah, no. I mean, a horoscope in the sense that that's their. They validate their identity through a superstitious belief. Essentially, is what I meant.
yeah, no, they don't even believe in angels. Like, not really, I think. The similar
Oh,
way that, like, Twilight fans didn't really believe in vampires.
I
It's just
see.
like they're obsessed with them. So, angel girls are the worst, if I understood it correctly.
Mm, I see.
I can just see, like, some seething red pillar listening to us, like, going, like, no! Girls are the worst, period!
Yes. I think the acronym is AWALT. All
Oh,
girls
yes,
or all
yes.
women are like that, something like that. Yeah. No girl is different. All of them are like that.
I mean, to be fair, I think my story should prove this because I mean, it would be insane if all girls everywhere at any given time, just climb trees and howl at the moon.
Yeah. I think that that girl probably would fit along well with people from 4chan, because
Yeah.
that's exactly the sort of like if I was reading a green text of someone who climbed a tree and howled at the moon, that was, yeah, I think it fits very well. Just a second, my father is here.
Yeah, sure.
Eu buscar Mari, se anoitecer por acaso, dá se você fechar as portas lá, vou deixar a janela. Então.
Sorry about that. Could you hear him?
Yes, I could hear him.
Oh, nice. What did you think?
He sounded exactly like I expected a dad from South America to sound like.
Nice. That's great to hear. Sorry. Oh yeah, green text. I mean, have you read those green text stories about paranormal stuff?
I mean, the paranormal stuffs are like, my favorite.
Yeah, the creepypasta stuff.
Yeah, some of them are really good actually, like, but I have I guess the point here is that I could have done a green text on this and it would have fit right in.
Yes. B19 girl broke up from my boyfriend walking through the forest, climbed a tree, howled at the moon. Am I weird? Something like that.
To be fair, in my credit, she came by once, like to get because usually we would hang out at her place, but she came by once to lend me a book, and then I asked my friends, like, do you understand? And they were like, yeah, we understand now. It's fine.
Wait. Oh, I see. Got it. I think I got it. So your friends understood why you would get used to her shenanigans after they saw how she looked.
Yeah, she was like, as I said, she was insanely attractive.
Got it. I see.
But I mean, the caveat here was like that she didn't know it. There's another really fun story I have about this girl. So what happened was that my other roommates were gonna hang out with some girls that I just loathed those girls. Like they were really annoying. They were like just hey, like brain dead. They were complete brain dead, and they were also very mean to people. Like just people you shouldn't hang out with. So I scheduled to hang out with Wolf Girl that day. So I go to her place, right, and we hang out. And then she says, "Oh, have you seen these?" And then she pulls out Nerf guns. But not just the normal Nerf guns. She had a Nerf shotgun and a Nerf revolver, but also a Nerf assault rifle. I mean,
how does that work?
Who wins here? They had to hang out with some annoying brats, and I got to play with Nerf guns.
I mean, certainly the Nerf guns won, but I gotta say, how does a Nerf gun assault rifle work? Is it electric? How does it? What's the propulsion system? I should ask.
Now, I think how it was like. No, it was like automatic, like how to say, like you said, electric. So it had like a magazine, and then it kind of like woo woo woo, and then it just put in the bullets one after another.
Did you have fun with Wolf Girl?
Yeah, it was really fun.
Huh.
I mean, the thing is, like, since I'm not gonna be a dick, I'm not gonna like, oh, here's what she looks like. Of course not. I'm not a dick. I would never do that to someone.
No, that's fine.
But I mean, there is like a scale. I guess that's what's different about. I saw this. I don't remember if it was Chris Rock, I think. And he had this bit, right, about, yeah, fellas, we all remember, like, that crazy ex, or like that crazy girl we dated and stuff. And then he kind of has a bit about it, like some girl he dated. And then he says, but do you know why girls don't have a story about a crazy ex-boyfriend?
Because they're currently dating them?
Because they would be dead.
Oh,
They die. That's the joke, like, and then it kind of compares, the difference that, like, it's for like guys we could go like, oh, haha, she's so quirky, she's kind of crazy, but for girls it's like, oh shit, man.
Yeah, it's game over.
It's game over. Like, I mean,
Right.
can you? I mean, just switch places, right? With that was a girl, and then a guy climbs a tree and howls at the moon. Some big buff guy, I mean, then it stops being kind of like, oh, it's funny, because she was kind of hot, because she was hot.
I
It's
mean-
fine. But you know what? It's like serial killer at that point. Like your mind it immediately goes to serial killer.
I see. I mean, to be honest, mine doesn't. I think if I saw someone doing that, like depending on the age, I would think they're harmless because
In the middle of the forest at night when the moon is
still-
out.
because it's a childish thing. I think like it's not something an evil person does, something a dumb person does, right?
Yeah, okay, now you sort of a little ruined my follow-up joke I was gonna say here. Because my joke was gonna be something like this, that when when I say that and it's a girl, that the first question, that pops into your mind is like, okay, how hot is she? But if it's a guy that does that role reversal, it's like, okay, how, much of a serial killer is he? That was gonna be my punchline, but it's ruined now.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
It's
ruin
fine.
the joke.
A point here is that, but that's just like, I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if I was walking on a street and some dude just climbed a tree and started howling at the moon, like whatever, right? But if
Mhm.
I mean, if I'm walking through the forest at night and I see some guy howling at the moon in a tree, and if I compare, attractive level, so he would be like a big buff dude, right? It would, it would be terrifying.
I see. I mean, yeah, it would. Like, if I didn't know the guy, it would be terrifying. Sure. If it was a guy I knew, though, it's like,
That is funny. That's just him trolling.
yeah, I would think that he was making a joke. And if he was being serious, I'd think he's dumb and probably not. Try to avoid being in situations I am alone with them, just in case. But besides that, it's like it's just far too dumb, dude. Like climbing a tree and howling at the moon, like unironically. I just it like it does like to me it's not predatory behavior. Like someone who's a psychopath doesn't do that. But then again, what do I know? Like I clearly don't know anything about psychopaths because I don't know. I didn't even know that this guy called Christian existed until recently.
What, really? You haven't heard about Christian?
Yeah, before I think not at least because yeah, I don't think so. Not by that name at least. I just heard of him recently because of what he did recently, and because it was trending on Twitter apparently.
No, like Count Dankula actually have an interview with him. It was really
Oh.
fascinating to hear them talk. Like, not about this though. This was like 2 years ago, before this came into light.
Yeah, of
And
course.
and it was the thing with Christian is like, that's a man broken by the internet. That's what he is. Like, completely broken by the internet. He needed help. And I mean, if he had lived in, like, fuck it, he probably would have fared better in Brazil than in America. Like, the point here is, like, you could know, and that's like sort of what everyone says. Like, PewDiePie also did like one of those 10 minutes videos on him a couple of years back too. And I mean, he was just broken by the internet because of all people trolling him, and
Mm.
it's like it's really sad to hear like some of the things what happened. Like people came to his house with guns. I think at one point. I mean, it was horrible.
Mm. So he was bullied by the internet.
Yeah, and the problem here is too, right, that he. I mean, there's a certain level of intelligence when I'm like, okay, this person is just dumb, and I wouldn't say, deserve it. I would never say that, but I mean, it's more like, in the way of what did you think was gonna happen. But with Christian, it's obvious to me when I see him, I hear him talk that, okay, this guy is, he doesn't have all his faculties there. Like he's mentally. I don't mean this as an insult, but he is mentally challenged. Like it feels like
Yeah.
that. And in that case, I think it's like immoral in every sense because now he's, now you're picking on someone
Yeah.
who doesn't know better. And then
Right.
it's different to me.
Yeah, it's especially problematic because I think Dr. Peterson spoke about this on a few occasions. Because I think the figure was around 15% of the population had an IQ of 83 or less. And I think he gave the example that in the military, if you had an IQ lower than 85, you could not be accepted. And so, what he said he meant by that is that the military is always having a shortage of people, which means that they are chronically seeking more and more people. And so, if they are refusing people who have an IQ of 85 or less, it means that they could not find a place for them inside the military. There was nothing a person with an IQ of 85 or less could do for the military that would be positive, essentially. It would bring them in would cause more harm than good, essentially. And there's a significant part of the population who has an IQ of 83 or less. And what that means is that it's hard to hold them to the same standards as the rest of the population because, like, if they have no guiding force, if like the only um, the only source of information they have is the internet, and they have to be their own judges to, see what's trustworthy or not. Like how is a person who is mentally challenged going to make decisions for themselves and figure out the truth from the fiction, especially like things with even simple things like sarcasm. It's like sometimes
Yeah.
it's hard to pick it up, right? Even if you're smart. And
No, there was
if
this.
you're just not smart, you're just fucked up. Like you can't do it. You take people seriously, and like it's easy to see how that can go wrong, right?
No, there's this guy in Britain, right, who is not allowed by the law to have sex because he's too stupid, like IQ.
Oh, isn't that kind of fucked up too?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, there's this guy. There's this in Netherlands. It's the other way around, right? You have what is it? If you don't get, you have the right via their laws to get laid once a month. So
Yeah,
if you,
I remember that.
yeah, so you can like if you don't get laid, you can like apply for a grant to go to the red light district.
Yeah, which is very, I don't know, like
Jordan
let me,
Peterson is just on his knees outside Amsterdam, just no, like the fucking Darth Vader shit, like
Yeah.
just on his knees, just crying and like ripping his hair and shit.
it's like horseshoe theory, right? When you go too far to one side, you come back to the other. I just think that's a bit too far.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit stupid, but like it's not progressive anymore when you are giving people money to have sex. I don't think.
I mean,
But
Amsterdam, they're just trolling, okay?
Yeah, I think it's ironic actually.
It's just ironic. Like they just
It's an ironic.
they just read one of these fucking what is it like harem hentais and like let's why don't we just it's just a great troll, right? Everyone will believe
Yeah.
they're like the main character.
Yeah, it would be very funny, guys. Let's make a policy to give people money to have sex. That it will make YouTube highlights for sure.
Seriously though, I agree that law is weird, but because I don't know actually
I'm not even sure I'm completely against it. Like it's just completely foreign to me. I never thought about it in that manner. And like I think I agree with you though that like Jordan Peterson, for example, would be pissed something like that. 'Cause,
yeah, yes.
like that's just so stupid, dude. Like how the fuck are you gonna give money to people to have sex? Do they have a right to have sex? Like who has a right?
Yeah,
to
yes,
have sex?
that's the. I think that's what it says. They have all the citizens have the right to have sex at least once a month.
It's insane. Like people don't have a right to have sex. That's dumb.
Oh, so you want to encroach on other people's rights?
I mean, like, what if there are no available people to have sex with? What if nobody wants to have sex with you?
The
How are
ugly
you gonna
bastard
get?
shows up. We talked about this. An ugly bastard get designated to your location and he nettoars you. That's how it works.
It's like, are you going to demand people that they have sex because someone has a right to it? Like, no, right? That's rape. So,
No, I agree though. I agree with you. It's silly because
thank you.
this right to have. I mean, it's not. It's not a human. That is not one of the things I consider like a human right. I can. I mean, there are other ways. Other thing. I mean, it's just strange to me. But actually, because in
Just give them
Sweden,
a,
because
get the like pay the Japanese to
go
sell
there,
sex.
right?
No, sell sex robots.
Yeah.
Something like that. Because at least then no one's hurt. Let's say.
No, because actually, then I want to ask because in Sweden, right? You like all. It works like this: to sell sex is illegal. To buy no, to sell sex is legal. To buy it is illegal. The reason for this is to protect women who are selling their bodies, but the buyers can get prosecuted.
Yeah,
But I was curious, how is it in Brazil?
I think
The,
it's the same actually.
oh,
But
okay.
I'm pretty sure that it's like in Brazil we have a law. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it's something like if you cheat on your wife, that's a crime, something like that. Um, but no
Really?
one, yeah, but no one like it's a vestigial law. I don't remember what the term is exactly, but let's call it vestigial because it's a law that exists, but no one follows it, and
Okay.
yeah, and the judges just ignore it essentially. And
Yeah, it's like free speech here, but in a good way. But in a good way. Let me explain. It's more like you. It's similar. I think this can be the case. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But we have similar laws to Britain about gross offense, but no one fucking listens to it. Like judges don't really care about it, and no one really cares about it. So it rarely gets enforced. The only one was the one I told you in a stall about the Burqa one. That's the only time I heard that being enforced.
yeah, so
But
it makes
continue.
sense. That's good. And yeah, where was I? There's a lot that's not enforced. Fuck, what was the topic before?
It was about Amsterdam doing epic trolling.
Yeah, you asked Brazil how it was if if prostitution is illegal, and it is, but like the women don't get in trouble, and the men are supposed to get in trouble, and I think they are supposed to get in trouble. I actually don't remember if like people who solicit. I think that it's not like it's not a crime to hire a prostitute actually. What is a crime is to like manage a prostitute, essentially, like to
Pimp.
be a pimp. Yeah, pimping is illegal. But like in my old city, there was essentially a red light district, and people knew about it. and but like the cops did not do anything about it essentially.
Like, where was
And
it? Like, how to say? Because the thing is, like, uh, where the girls. How to explain this? No, I can't explain. I'm gonna sound like an asshole anyway. Continue. Yes, ignore me.
yeah,
Continue.
yeah. I think, and that's just conjecture, but it might have been that people turned a blind eye to the quote unquote red light district because it did more good than harm. Because if there was no, you know, red light district at the place, like prostitution would still occur, but it would be less safe and more problematic. So people just allowed it to happen, and I think that's why it happened. And I think like that's a law which was enforced in other places in Brazil, but not in my city. And I think that's why. I think that's because in our city it was less of a problem, more like a how when the mafia shows up and suddenly crimes go down because now there's someone in control of things.
Hmm.
That's I think it's a similar phenomenon with what happens. But to answer your question directly, I think soliciting a prostitute is not a crime. I think being a prostitute is not a crime. I think that managing or pimping a prostitute is a crime in Brazil.
Okay, so then I will just add my final thing before I go for my smoke break. But what I was gonna say is this: that personally, I feel like if there are structures in place to keep women and men, of course, safe who want to engage in sex work, I have no problem with it. My problem becomes if the law is skewed in such a way that, you're fucked. If you're like, if that it would essentially enable sexual slavery instead of,
Mhm.
you know people just selling it. Because if people want to sell it, fine. Like, fuck it. If someone wants to say, like, I'm a capitalist that way, even though I'm a social democrat at the end of it all, I am a capitalist too. So I believe in everyone's right to sell whatever they want as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else.
Mhm.
But anyway, I'll be back in 5 minutes, okay?
Okay. I will mute
Also,
myself
also
now.
last time I just need to
Oh,
mention this. I was listening to the recording because I cut out the 5 minutes when I'm away, and I heard you talk about my avatar's boobies.
I talked about it.
Yeah, you said, "Oh, I'm just gonna stare at Kayako's tits for a while."
Did I do that? I don't remember.
Or breasts. I think you said breasts.
I see. Okay, I didn't remember I did that, but okay, I'll trust you.
But now this time I'm be gone for a second, okay?
Okay, I'll mute myself then for now.
You're streaming your game.
Yep. I just turned on the camera to test it, but I'll turn it off for now. Here.
No, that's
Are you
pretty
done?
cool. Yeah, I just had a smoke, but there was a thing that I think we can actually agree on this. Have you heard about the whole "I am not Starfire" controversy?
Uh, I have heard a bit about it. I don't remember from where, but
Okay,
probably from Reddit, I think.
yeah. So Google it while I just explain sort of the main ground, right?
I
And
don't think I have to Google it because I think I know what it is about.
no, I want you to look at the mom because I have a point about the mom.
Oh,
But
an image, you mean? Okay.
yeah, okay. So anyway, what happened is that everyone knows that manga is outselling Western comics. Everyone knows this. It's the truth. I mean, it's just what it is. So the thing is that how to explain it. So I think if I understood it correctly, they tried to do like a manga style Western comic and just failed. because I mean, the thing here, right, is if you what's a shame is that I see a concept like this working. It's just it's a shame when it just when they just fuck it up completely. Because I'm not saying that the main character has to be this super attractive shad or something. What I don't understand is that it is possible, and that's a thing that just gets lost in the Discord, right? Like discourse, I mean, that people they can't look at it, in the middle ground and say something like, you know, this is how we could have improved this. This is how we could have made it good and stuff. My point here being that you don't have to. You can keep the point of her being like angry with her mother, because the point is, for those who don't know, is that Starfire is this super powerful superhero. And I mean, she's also really hot. Like you can see, like in the image that you just googled, like she's very hot. And the main character is not, and she's like super. Apparently, she's like super mean to her mom and stuff.
Okay, so first, if we're gonna dive in this topic, you said that you think that there is a way for you to make this concept work. What do you mean by that?
If you want to make a concept where the main character is not
Oh,
supposed to
shit.
look, yeah, you see what I mean, right?
No, but sorry, I just found an image. It must be a Photoshop or an artwork. Let me send it to you, where the main character isn't, short and fat. Here,
damn, damn. We
you
could have
played
had.
that, huh?
Yeah, no. The thing to add, right, is even though like this is made as a jest to the thing, right? The
Yeah.
thing is like you could, if you don't want that, if you don't want the main character to look hot, okay, fine. But there is some realities that I think whoever made this just they don't understand some realities. I mean, for example, I've said what I said about Demon Slayer. I think it's shit. But obviously, the market disagrees with me.
Yes.
The market says it's like one of the best fucking things that has ever come out.
Yes.
Like, it would be interesting to see if it's broken all worldwide records ever. Like, even the Golden Age comics, from the 60s, or like Tintin or something. But
I
anyway,
don't know if it has in manga, but in the movie has sold better than Ghibli stuff, and it's like the best animated movie in terms of grossing in theaters.
my heart, man. It's just, oh. Anyway, my point here is that with this Starfire thing, right, is that if you want to make like that, that the main character doesn't like her mom and stuff, you can do that. But I don't understand why they had to do it so bad, because I mean, you said in Tokyo Ghoul, right? You have like gotten to a part, like I think you gotten well enough so you see why I even bring Tokyo Ghoul up. I mean, in that story, it's sort of the same, right? But the issue is, right, you like the main character in Tokyo Ghoul. Like, you don't hate him. But in this one, it seems like you hate the main character. So my point here is that it's such a shame when one side is saying, oh, you just don't like it because you're a sexist, and the other side says that, oh, everything, this concept is bad, everything about this is bad, and it's like, but isn't there like a middle ground where this could have been made well? That's my
All right.
point.
So, have you read the comic yet, or have you only read you know uh, summaries and stuff like that?
No, read summaries and stuff. So to be fair, maybe I read it and I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually up my alley. I really like this. Who knows?
Because like all I've read it is very like I'm very ignorant about the subject. Like all I've read was a thread on Reddit where people were talking about the controversy itself, not exactly the comic. And I don't know, like as a concept, the idea of a main character which has no powers and is like compared to someone who does, and just follows up the story of someone who doesn't have powers, who lives in the shadow of someone who does. That doesn't sound like it sounds like it could be an interesting concept, I think. And like it's not like it's not done before. Like I've read manga where the main character like is in a world with superpowers and the main character doesn't have a power, so he has to like come up with ways to bridge the gap between himself and other people without having a power of his own. And I think that's a cool concept and it can work, but I don't know, like what's the plot of the the comic exactly? Do you know? Like, besides her hating her mom and not wanting to be compared to her?
I think she has her own superpower. I just don't remember what it is.
Oh, she does have a power.
Yeah, it's just different. I don't even know what Starfire's power is, to be honest. I know she's like an original character from DC, but
The only Starfire I know is from Teen Titans. So,
no, that is the same.
is it the same?
Yeah, this is that Starfire.
Okay, because her power is, being able to fly, use energy to shoot at people, and being super strong. It's like a superwoman, essentially. And she's an alien, I think. That's also.
So why would she be on Earth anyway? Yeah, as I said, it's like the thing also with like Teen Titans and stuff. Like I never watched that as a kid. Like as a kid, I watched Digimon. Did you watch Digimon as a kid?
I have actually watched a few episodes of Digimon, but not much. I do remember the Angelmon, which is very hot for some reason.
Yeah. No, it's what is it? Like the thing about Digimon that I liked is that, to be fair, I probably shouldn't have been watching it because it's like it deals with some adult themes, right? It's not. I mean, it's not like it's not super adult themes, but there's some themes in it that are like, oh damn, that's pretty deep for a kid's cartoon.
Yes, it is.
Like what is it like? Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but the smart guy, like his what is it? His mom and dad died in a car crash and he's adopted. I mean, that's maybe
Hmm.
not that too bad, but there are like characters that die and stuff in Digimon. Like they legit
Yes,
die.
it's not Pokemon. It's more like it's more. I think the target audience is a bit older than the characters, at least.
Yeah, that was the first Digimon I watched.
I see. Yeah, I think even the introduction of the story is something like, "Do you want to get out of this boring world?" or something like that. And it's being said to a kid, right? And the vessel, the vehicle of the message is a cell phone. So this kid gets a cell phone. I think it's from his mother actually. Like he doesn't even get his. He like the mother lends the cell phone to him, and he's playing with the cell phone, and then he receives a message asking him if he wants to leave the boring world, and he says yes, and then suddenly he's in another world, and you could see that as you know uh, a metaphor for I don't know, kidnapping, rooming, that kind of
Yeah, in a way, I guess. But isn't that
and
season two though, or like not season
I
two, but second part?
I think it's season one, and I think it's Tas, the name of the main character, something like that.
I
I
mean,
think that might have been season two. I don't know, because I don't remember. Like, it's not like I am a Digimon fanatic. But my point is, it is an adult team. Like, it's like I remember watching that as a kid and thinking, man, isn't it fucked up that you can accidentally talk with a stranger from a cell phone, because that was, I basically didn't know the internet back then. So
No, none of us did, man.
yeah, I mean, that's true. But me especially, like, the idea of talking with a stranger as a kid was completely foreign to me. I didn't realize that it was possible, and the show actually made it, like, show to me that it was possible for a kid to end up talking with someone who was a stranger with the advent of technology. So, in that sense, I agree with you that there's definitely adult themes in the story. But, like, can you talk a bit more? Because, like, the thing about the thread I saw on Reddit complaining about the controversy of the I Am Not Starfire comic is that some people were, and I think that's to your point of people being like, "Oh, you're just sexist" or whatever. Because it's not the first time that a comic comes out, and like, for example, it's like when first the first Spider-Man comic where the Spider-Man was black, or they
Yeah,
gender
Miles
swapped
Morales.
some.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gender swapped some characters, and or they race swapped some characters, and every time that happens, there's a backlash, and so people, like, on the comment section of that thread were comparing it to such events and saying, "Oh, this is just those right-wing trolls being mad at the
Oh yeah.
empowerment of women or something," and I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, everyone knows the biggest empowerment of women is like a short, fat goth.
yeah. No, but I mean,
I know
like,
what you mean, though.
yeah, certainly there's something to it, I think, or maybe there's something to it at least.
I mean,
And
if I can explain it like this,
like,
right?
what, like, if you were a very um, fanatic consumer of DC comics, what would you hate about this exactly? I think is my question.
I mean, if I was a consumer, right? If Starfire is Starfire, I would probably not have. Then that's fine. But if it's like it takes away from a lot of things, and like they change Starfire, then whatever, right? Because I mean, but what I'm gonna say, right, is it's fine. I never actually had that much of a problem with like swapping how characters look. Let me explain. Like, take this Spider Gwen thing, right? That now
Mm.
Spider-Man is a girl. I mean, it's literally just a gender swap. It's the same character from a parallel universe. And I
Mhm.
mean, you can do a lot with that, right? Because Peter lost Gwen, and this Gwen lost Peter. So, I mean, you
Mhm.
have a lot of, heartbreaking, cool stuff you can do with that concept. And Miles Morales, I don't know a lot about the character that much, but I mean, I know people like him. That he's one of the, more favorite iterations of Spider-Man. I know he's more popular than Spider-Gwen, I think.
Mhm.
But the thing is, I can give an example, right? That's not when it becomes a problem for me, and that is when they. Okay, Lord of the Rings, right? They're doing the Amazon TV series.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's gonna take place when the Numenorians were around, and I don't know if you. So Numenorians are these ancient. Do you actually know that much about them? No, you don't, right? No, I remember you don't actually.
I
Uh,
don't.
yeah. Okay. So TLDR, Numenor existed in the Second Age. It was an island on the west coast, or like a small continent on the west coast of Middle Earth. And then
Mhm.
this continent, as I said, Numenor, got infiltrated by Sauron, or whatever how I pronounce it, who convinced the king there to attack Valinor. And Valinor is, where all like the Tolkien archangels live. Like their Maiar Gandalf comes from there, and all the
Mhm.
Valar like. So he invades this place, and then what happens is, as punishment, the god of the Tolkien universe sinks Numenor, and then traps this king forever in Valinor, like in some caves. Anyway, this king, right? His name is Ar-Pharazôn. The thing with Ar-Pharazôn, like the king who messes up this, is like you, he's it's he's afraid of dying. That's why he goes to the Undying Lands, wages war against Undying Lands. My point here is, let's say they switched his race, right? That he's black now. If that was it, he has the same character arc, everything, then fine, whatever. But my example would be like, let's say they introduce an element where he's now chased because he's black. Then it's like that had nothing to do with the original source material. What are we doing here? And then I would feel like, okay, there's another place for this, but it's not here. Then I would have a problem with it. That's sort of how I view these things.
I see. I get it. I mean, the problem is that, well, I'm not. How do I say this? I have always been somewhat distant from the controversies regarding gender and racial swapping in stories because personally I don't really care. Like, I'm somewhat sexist when it comes to reading fiction because I'm the sort of reader who likes to self-insert as a character. So when I read a story, I prefer for there to be a male lead, which I can identify as.
Okay.
And then when I'm reading, like, it's hard for me to read stories with female protagonists or main characters because it's just harder for me to see myself as a female. And like, I've had read stories like that, and I have enjoyed stories like that, but it's just it's like a disadvantage. A story has to be better than usual to pull me in when it has that element. And because of that, I sort of understand why it's important for there to be uh, representation. I think is how the diversity people talk about it.
Mm.
But I don't know, that like I've always felt a bit weird when it comes to you know changing races and sexes because um, like why don't you make a new story is the main issue, I think. Like,
No,
why
I agree.
make why do you have to pick up a story which already has X sex or X race and make it another sex and another race? Why can't you write a new story which has a new sex and a new race? If you want, X sex or X race to be represented, why don't you make the story with that sex and race in mind from the beginning? Like, why does it have to be Spider-Man? Why don't you make it something else? And that was always my problem. But like, it's not like I'm militant or adamant about it. I don't care. I also like I've never been a big fan of comics to begin with. I've always liked manga more, and
I mean, it's the same to me. Manga and comics are the same. It's just the different type, like from where you read it. Essentially, it's the only difference I've seen. I was just gonna add this, right? That I see where you're coming from, and I mean because I mean to add on my example, right? Because then I will understand completely. Like, if you want to make a story about like races and stuff in Lord of the Rings, like in the Tolkien universe, you can. Because I mean, just in the south of Numenor, you have like where some Numenorians came in and took slaves, from black people and brown people and stuff. And then they rose up against the Numenorians because they did that. And I mean, you can do a story about that.
that's
Eh,
pretty cool, actually. That's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, you can do that if you want. It's just, I agree with you that it's weird that people insert this shit everywhere. But I think the thing is with Japan, right? Too with their manga, it's like I just hope that they keep doing what they're doing and like ever because I mean, surely the masters at play there, like whoever runs, the manga and anime things, understands.
Mhm.
Okay, if we keep doing this, we will make a shit ton of money. So I
Yeah.
mean, so if they realize, okay, all we need is a one-dimensional main character, a hot gal, and we're good to go.
I mean, uh, at least for Japan not being behind, let's say, or being influenced by the West, I'm not sure if it's gonna keep up. Because Japan is very homophobic, right? At least it
I,
used to be, right?
I heard about it, yeah.
Yeah, so it used to be at least, and like pretty sure like they can't get married there and stuff, and like most people are in favor of marrying, of like allowing homosexual couples to be able to marry, but like the old guard isn't, and the old guard is in power, let's say. So like
Okay,
they
I didn't know
control
that.
that. Yeah, and like there people don't like there aren't revolts and riots and stuff like that. People don't do that in Japan. Even if like a majority of people are in favor of something, they still will allow the government to outrule them, let's say, or, you know. And the thing about that is that, for example, a manga I'm reading right now, uh, called Mairi Mashita Irumakun, which is a story like a kid goes to a demon school. It's a comedy, and yeah, it's cool. But anyway, like one of the chapters, it's not that recent. It's like a few months old. Introduces a character, and then later reveals that the character is lesbian,
All
and
right.
like that's the sort of thing that I don't see. Like it wouldn't have happened in the past. I don't think. I think it's a what? It's a symptom or a signal that the Japan is like it's not going to remain as it is forever. Like at some point, it's going to become more like the West.
I mean,
And
I don't really fully agree with you there because I mean, unless you wanted to argue because that this is the case with Tokyo Ghoul too, because Tokyo Ghoul has gay and transsexual characters in it.
no, I'm not sure. But the problem, or rather, the thing that's interesting in this case, and why I made that conclusion from this example, is that Mashita Irumakun first is like a comedy, but the homosexuality is not treated as a joke, which is very
Mm-hmm.
weird. And it's also not important to the story at all. I mean, there's like some element that's tied to the plot, but not very. Like it could be written away without much difficulty, and still, like it had like I wouldn't say like a whole chapter about it, but almost a whole chapter about it. And it was a side character, right, which was lesbian, but still, and like I don't know. For example, One Piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
This massively popular story. In there's like a very, I don't know. It isn't even necessarily stereotypical. It's more like a very old and outdated stereotype of homosexual people,
Mm-hmm.
and which is written into the story. And then there's like it's called Okama, I think, which is like I'm not sure it's a slur in Japanese, but it's how they use in One Piece to refer to the to gay people. And like like there's a character which is an over the top cross dressing sort of, I'm not sure even how to call it, but anyway, it's an Okama. And like they come from this place called Okama Island, which is an island full of Okamas.
What the
And
fuck?
yeah,
What the-
it's very stupid. So I'm trying to make a comparison to, because One Piece is like, I don't know, 20 years old, something stupid like that. So
Is it actually
it's all,
20 years old? I
I
didn't
don't
know
think
that.
it is. I don't think it is 20, but it's almost 20, I think. Anyway, point is, it's a relic of a distant time, right? And like it's still like Okama Island still exists, and some characters are still like that, but it shows how different the situation is treated. I think where as the culture of Japan has gone past homophobia, it's become more like homosexual people are not treated as just a joke anymore, and it's not as stereotyped, and it's not as, I don't know, taboo. I'm not sure even if it was taboo before, but yeah, I think like you could draw a conclusion from these two data points that I just outlined, and see that there was a transformation, and infer from that one day maybe they'll go too far, let's say, and go, oh, now every character has to, like, we have to have a gay character in every story, and we have to have like a representation of every race in every story, and the kind of stuff that Netflix does nowadays,
Yeah, the
where
thing I'm gonna add to here though is that I don't. It's a shame that people politicize this so much because let's face it, like someone who is transgender, right? I don't know if you are, if you have friends who are, or relative, whatever, right? But it's how do I explain it? Like it is, it must suck, like in the start, right? That you are in the wrong body and just
yeah,
feel
for
this
sure.
connection. That must suck. And there is
It's not
some
just
value.
it must
I was almost done. Let me just add this. The
yeah.
thing is like, and there is a valuable story there to tell, right? That people could tell in good ways. And now it feels like no one wants to anymore because some people on Twitter are gonna be angry at them.
I mean, sure, that's true. And like, just when I was almost interrupting you there, I was going to say, just it's not just it must suck. Like, it's way worse than that.
Yeah.
Like, because I've been curious about this, right? It's sort of like the issue of our time, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can define like Western world like these 5 years being just riddled with this.
Yes, and political compass memes. There was a discussion because political compass memes is a bit right leaning. There's way more right wingers than there are left wingers, and regardless of why that is, like, it's sometimes interesting discussions happen there, but it's usually very jokey and dismissive about trans issues, right?
Hmm.
And I don't mind that because I'm not a trans person, but I can understand why that's very fucked up for trans people. Anyway, point is, there was a discussion about it, and they were discussing uh, trans suicide rates. And you probably know this because it's very well known. Trans suicide rates are very high, right?
Hmm.
Like, it's
Hmm.
above half. Like, above half of people who identify themselves with gender dysphoria kill themselves. And
Hmm.
that's absurd, right? Like, it's like, can you imagine that? Like a 50-50 chance that you're going to kill yourself?
Yeah, no, it's horrible. Like, I mean, there's no other sexuality or whatever you want to call it that has that.
And like, you one of the things that were discussed, and that's the part where I dug in because I wanted to know if that was true, is that people were arguing that um, gender conversion surgery, I think that's what it's called, uh, people who underwent the surgery were less likely to kill themselves rather than more. And I thought that was interesting because the way it was presented to me before, when people cited this data, it was like it was a regret of the surgery, right?
Hmm.
And that came against that particular presentation. So I dug up uh, the, some of the research about it, and apparently it's the case. Like the surgery does help people. Apparently, like there are many studies about this, like hundreds of studies about this, and most of them agree that it does help people. But and that's where it comes, and where I sort of took issue with the way you said, it must suck. Because, and I know you don't mean like you didn't mean to be dismissive of it, but I still thought that it was good to mention this. Like and you can, like, I'm almost finished, so don't worry. Even if you took like the suicide rates, and I don't remember the numbers exactly, but even if you took the suicide rates of people who did go through the surgery, like it was still way higher than the normal population. Like way higher. Like maybe hundreds of times. I don't remember exactly.
No, I know it's a ridiculous number.
Yeah, so like it goes down by a lot if you go through the surgery when you have gender dysphoria, but it doesn't actually fix the issue. It just helps a bit. And so I don't know, like I thought that was very interesting to me, because people talk about gender dysphoria and what a problem it is, a mental health issue, and etc. And then they present the surgery as if it was this cure-all panacea, which fixes the problem, and it doesn't. It seriously doesn't fix the problem. It just helps a bit. And so I just find that very interesting, because I don't know. I never see people talking about this. Like people don't talk about the fact that the surgery doesn't actually solve the issue. Like people are so adamant about this issue, and they say that it's to help trans people, but all I see is people trying their best to blame people for traditional notions of gender and sex, and trying to abolish these traditions. And uh, they don't seem to be that worried about actually fixing the gender dysphoria problem, and the surgery doesn't fix the problem. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
No, I mean I agree completely. I mean it's that people, essentially what you're saying sort of is that people are trying, they are more worried about looking good than actually solving issues.
Yeah.
Because one thing that is the most mind-boggling thing, right, is these people who they go to hook up with, for example, a man, right? Let's say they are a trans woman, right? So man to woman. They
Mhm.
they go to a bar or something. Then there's someone they don't really know, and they go home to their place to, hook up with them. And then it's like, what? What? Why would you do? And they don't disclose that they are transgender,
Yeah.
and that's just really fucking dangerous. Like people die over that.
Yeah.
Like they can get murdered over that, and it's dangerous. And like, and not only that, even if it was a chick, right, like a gal, like not a transgender woman, just a gal, then I mean it's still dangerous to do that. So
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, it's this attitude, because I know you don't think this, because I mean, since I'm not trying. I know that ragging on Brazil is a meme. I know that, but what I'm saying, I'm actually being
I mean,
serious now.
feel
But
free, dude. Like
yeah,
you can shit on us if you want.
yeah. I mean, where is there? It's shit everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point is that in other countries than Western countries, and even just inside certain. Okay, to take an example, so because I fucked this up completely. I mean, if you take something like in Sweden, right? If you go to the major cities like Gothenburg, Malmö, and Stockholm, people will be like maybe left leaning. They will think a certain way and think like, oh, you can do this. Of course, you're not gonna get killed. But if you just go like 2 hours away from these cities, people are normal again. They don't think that. So I mean, my point was just to say that it's the online world is not the real world. It's just not.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because I mean, some of these, I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah, I think, like, for example, on Reddit, I'm not sure if I am the asshole is one example, but I think it might be.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what subreddit it was, but I remember like seeing the example you mentioned, right? Like a trans person goes to a bar, brings up a partner home, and then the partner is like, "Oh, you're trans. I don't want to have sex with you." And then you know, they blame the guy or the girl, whoever, the partner of the trans person, for
Yeah,
refusing to have sex once they know they're trans, uh, as if it was like owed to them, like the sex was necessary, and like the person was compelled to have sex, and like the being trans shouldn't matter. And like, I don't think that's the case. I think that it's
I
one
agree.
thing for a person to, treat you like you are a woman if you are a trans woman, and it's another for one person to be sexually attracted to you, uh, despite the fact that you used to be male. And you can't control who you are attracted to at all. Like, it's not a decision. So to try to uh, place a moral failing on a person for, not wanting to have sex with a trans person, and it's like they don't get to decide it. It's not their fault, and so why the fuck are you blaming them? And on Reddit, I see it all the time that people say that trans people shouldn't have to, disclose that they're trans, and that sort of thing, right?
Hmm.
And when I when you say that, like, yeah, it's true. Like, the internet is not real life, and hopefully, like, I say that with, like, it's not just an observation. It's a wish. I really hope that real life it's not like the internet, because if it is, we're all fucked, I think.
No, I mean
Because
also to give an example too, because to prove that this is like right. I remember this is like there's some. I think everyone has this, or if they don't, maybe they're better than me. But what you said about internet, not real life, and stuff like what I also said, and what because I also agree. Just to make one thing here, I hear and I agree with you what you said about the hooking up thing. I do, but also, I mean, where I was going somewhere with this. I promise. The point here is that you, I have. Oh yeah, I found my friend my train of thought again. The thing is this that there's always comments that always stick with people that they found online about themselves. And one of these comments I got was from this absolute troglodyte who honestly thought that all conservative women were fat and ugly. And I I just don't understand. To be fair, my first comment was like hyperbole in opposite of that, just to get a reaction. So
I mean, I do the same thing, so I know what
uh,
it is.
yeah. So, but the thing is, like, he honestly thought that all conservative women looked, and then I was like, what is this? Because like the conservative women I've known are usually very attractive. I mean, so I don't know. And these people, like, they think that the online world is real world. Then they go out, and I mean, it can't be fun for them. They can only, I mean, they must be so limited just hang out in certain areas of the world and stuff. It's
Yep.
insane.
Yeah, I
But
think they have to, you know, like, they create a little world, and then they delude themselves that the world that they created is all that exists, and they don't go out of their world. But then, sometimes some problem outside the world happens, and they don't know how to solve it, and they're not prepared, and I think Jordan Peterson talks about this a bit. He says, like, you can't put a carpet above a hole and then walk over it. Like, you're still gonna fall into the hole. So you
Yeah.
can't pretend that the problem doesn't exist.
That's such a good way of saying it. I never thought of it that way, but he's right.
Yeah. So yeah, but you were gonna say something when I interrupted you.
No, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, actually, you did it for me because I was gonna say, no, this is a good place to wrap up, and this was.
Oh,
So you with the Jordan Peterson quote wrapped it up completely well.
oh, nice.
But yeah, as usual, Neo, this is always fun. It's nice talking to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same dude. Like I almost didn't make it today because I was sleepy, and
yeah, I could hear that in the start.
yeah, luckily my dad woke me up for lunch, so I didn't miss.
What's the
I
what's the
didn't miss.
time over there?
I mean, right now it's 2:48 p.m.
Why don't you do you even want to know when I go up in the morning?
When you go up, like when you wake up,
Yeah, when I wake up.
I mean, you probably wake up like at 10, right? 10 a.m.
No, 6:30.
Seriously?
Yeah, it improved my life
Why?
so much. Because I want to
But
be out when the sun is out, so I can go down, take my coffee, enjoy the morning, and then go back and write.
I see. That's actually kind of cool. I've
But
thought
I
about doing something
respect
like that, but
that because what you said last time. I'm sorry, I had to also talk to my parents about that. What you said about it takes bravery to live in a apartment in Brussels, because I was like, this is such a culture. When you said that, that was like one of the biggest culture shocks I've ever had. I was like, what is this dude on about? Because I
I
was
mean,
like,
maybe
no, because I understand now. Now I understand when you explain it. Of course, I understand it now. But at that point, I was like, I was just dumbfounded. But my point here is that don't think the area you live in now is as bad as the one you lived previously in. So,
for sure,
so
for
now
sure.
you should be able to take a walk in the morning, right?
Yeah, for sure. I actually used to walk with my dad in the beach, and it's very calm here. And like there are still like crimes and stuff like that, but it's not as dangerous at all. To begin with, like the city is almost like I wouldn't say deserted, but it's like a beach city. So people only come here, like most of the houses here are, beach houses. So people only come here like for vacation and stuff.
Hmm.
Like there aren't many people who live and work here year round. So like it's a very chill city, which with not a lot of people.
No, so I mean, you should be able to do it, but that's what I do every. But yeah, I will.
Eventually, I'm gonna to try it. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, 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 yeah.